This video is brought to you by America First Insight. Help support the growing conservative movement by becoming a member today. And if you want to support this channel, you can also use the code REAL when becoming a member. Thank you and enjoy the video. Well, we just received some pretty big news out of the state of Ohio, as it appears that former U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown is running yet again. Yeah, that's Sherrod Brown, and for those that live under a rock and have no clue who this guy is, this was the same guy that was a senator for years. He won in 2006, won in 2012, won in 2018, but in 2024, he finally got ousted. But now he is planning a political comeback for 2026. And now every Democrat's losing their minds. They all are thinking, oh my goodness, we're about to retake the Senate because Sherrod Brown is running. And I'm not exaggerating, by the way. Look at this. This is Larry Sabato, one of these quote-unquote experts. And he runs the crappy crystal ball, whatever you want to call it. He runs that organization, the same group that never gets anything right. But either way, he put out this tweet. He said, it's still a long shot 14 months out, but with ex-Senator Sherrod Brown running again, there's at least a somewhat credible, theoretical path for Democrats to get to 50 or 51 Senate seats. Yeah, he is now saying there is a legitimate pathway, not just a best-case scenario, the stars align scenario. No, there is a credible, serious pathway for Democrats to not just get to 50-50 in the Senate, but get to 51. And a bunch of Democrats are all saying the same thing, that, oh, Sherrod Brown changes everything. Now, I want to be clear about one thing. Is it technically possible that Sherrod Brown could maybe win? Sure, that's a legitimate possibility. But guys, these people on Twitter going around and saying, it's now a toss-up for the Senate, we're going to retake the Senate, we're going to get 51 in the Senate. I'm sorry, these people are delusional. Larry Sabato has been wrong for years. He has no clue what he's talking about. He's a big hack. He pretends to be a nonpartisan, but he's one of the biggest hacks out there. And now his group is pushing this idea that, oh, the Sherrod Brown alone changes everything. Guys, he lost in 2024. I know that was with Trump at the top of the ticket, and you look at the Senate results, yeah, Sherrod Brown did outperform Kamala Harris. He got roughly 46.5% of the vote. Harris got roughly 44%. Let's just round up. So he did do better than Harris, by a couple points. He is a strong candidate, fine. But these people really believe that by some miracle, Brown entering the race automatically means that the Senate's now up for grabs in a legitimate scenario. Not just a best case scenario, the stars align. No, they're actually convinced themselves that now Ohio is getting very close to being a toss-up state yet again. This has been going on for years. These same people have been saying for years that, oh, Ohio is a toss-up. Iowa's a toss-up. All these Republican states now, by some miracle, they're going back to toss-up status. So I want to talk about how insane this theory is that by some miracle Brown entering the race makes it where Democrats have a legitimate pathway to the Senate. Is it possible they could win it? Yeah, but that's a best-case scenario. You need everything to go right for the Democrats to barely retake the Senate, let alone get to 51. They're going to have a hard time getting to 50. That's like a 1% chance at this point. It's so unrealistic. It's insane. But again, notice how they're talking. It's a bunch of people also, they're all talking, oh my goodness, Ohio's about to flip. It's a toss-up now. We now have a credible pathway. So let's just look at how unrealistic this really is, because this is the current map, okay? Before Brown entered, not a single serious person was talking about Ohio. And at that point, that would mean Republicans, no matter what happens in the other swing states, they were at 51. They would have a majority no matter what. But suddenly, because Brown entered the race, by some miracle, it changes the complexion of everything. Really? And even in this scenario, where Ohio by some miracle is a swing state, you're still at 50-50. So what the hell are these people talking about? Even if you get Ohio, you don't get 51 in the Senate. But oh, Larry Sabato, he's going around and saying, well, Democrats have a 30% chance of taking the Senate. And I know he kind of indirectly said that, but look at this. Someone said, Polymarket thinks Democrats have a 29% chance of getting 51 Senate seats. Not just 50-50, 51. And he said about right. He said, yeah, roughly 30%. He agreed with the Polymarkets of the world right now that it's roughly 30%, which is crazy. He actually believes this. So let's just look at how unrealistic this really is. So let's start with Ohio, because that's what everyone's talking about. Sherrod Brown is a strong candidate. I'm not denying that. But right now, Ohio's worst case scenario for the GOP right now, likely Republican. Guys, I know 2026 will be a more Democrat-leaning environment on paper. We don't know for sure, but on paper, it should be more friendly to Democrats. But okay, even if that's the case, the 2024 Senate race is not the 2026 one. For starters, Sherrod Brown is not the incumbent. He's going to be going against Jon Husted, who right now is the incumbent. He was appointed by Mike DeWine. So already, that advantage is gone. He has name recognition, sure, but he doesn't have incumbency. But you look at other factors. Bernie Moreno, I like him, but let's be honest, he's not the strongest candidate in the world. He is kind of weak, electorally at least. He still won by 3.5% against Brown, but you could argue he's not the strongest guy in the world. Jon Husted is far superior in basically every aspect. He was the former lieutenant governor. He was the former secretary of state, and he won statewide before. Secretary of state, he won twice by like 15 points. So it's not like Bernie Moreno, who's some random, some guy no one ever heard about. It's a former secretary of state who's won statewide twice, the former lieutenant governor who was on the same ticket as Mike DeWine, and now the current senator. How the hell can anyone say this is anything but likely Republican? How? How can anyone even comprehend the idea of maybe it flips? Oh, it's looking good for Brown. Based on what? It's looking very good for Husted. It might be closer, sure. But Sherrod Brown couldn't even beat Bernie Moreno. And I would argue that these results in 24 are deceiving. Because Bernie Moreno, he got above 50% of the vote. So he got a majority. A majority of Republicans or voters in Ohio said no to Brown. And I know 2026 is a different environment. Fine. But again, you're going against Husted, who's far superior. Brown's not the incumbent. Husted actually has electoral history. And, this is the big part no one talks about, there was a large libertarian vote in Ohio. And you could take a guess where these voters were from. From rural Ohio. The vast majority of the libertarian votes came from Republican areas. So this margin of victory for Moreno could have been even larger, closer to like 4 to 5 points. So, yeah. Right now in Ohio, I don't see how you can even suggest the idea of, well, Brown's a strong candidate. Okay, he's strong. But he has no pathway right now. No realistic pathway as of now. Could he win in a best case scenario? Sure. But already, that is such a slim pathway. Even if he has any, we got to see what happens. But he lost at 24. It's a very bizarre situation. I don't know. We'll see. But already, Republicans are at 51. And you look at these other states, you have to assume that Democrats hold on to New Hampshire, which is very plausible. I think they will as of now. But still, they got to hold on New Hampshire. They have to win Michigan, which it looks like they're in big trouble there. I mean, guys, Mike Rogers, he ran at 24, barely lost because, yet again, these bullshit third-party candidates. Well, now, he has a party behind him. He already ran for the Senate, and the Democrat side looks like a shit show. But let's just assume that Democrats take Michigan, okay? Well, they still got to win Georgia. And I know people are going to say John Ossoff's a strong candidate, and let's just give them that. even in that scenario, Democrats are at 47. All right? And even if they get North Carolina, which I think the race is 50-50 right now, it could go either way, we'll see. And even if they get Maine, which I still think Susan Collins is going to win. This happens every year. Susan Collins is a weak candidate, and then she wins by like 15 points. And the Democrats they're running are weak. They're shitty candidates. No one ever heard of these people. And every time they have the polls showing Susan Collins losing, she wins. Now, maybe she loses this time. Fine. Maybe she doesn't run for re-election. Okay. But even in this scenario, they have to flip North Carolina, Maine, have to hold on to Michigan, New Hampshire, Georgia, and just to get the 50-50, flip Ohio. Does this look like a realistic, credible pathway? This is best case scenario, the stars align, everything goes perfectly, and you maybe get 50-50. But they're not just saying 50-50, they're saying, oh, we're gonna get 51. Where? You're not gonna win Florida. The copium about Texas is never gonna happen, guys. Texas not flipping Democrat unless something so crazy happens. It's not gonna happen. They've been saying Iowa's gonna go blue for years also. That's not gonna happen either. So what are these people talking about? It's not just Larry Sabato. It's his whole organization. It's everybody that does this crap. Oh, it's Sherrod Brown's going to win. Seriously? There is no serious pathway that I can see right now where Democrats get remotely close to 51. Best case scenario right now is 50-50. This idea it's 51, that's bullshit. The most realistic scenario is, oh, John Huston wins to Ohio. More than likely, Susan Collins holds on to Maine. And North Carolina right now is 50-50. Same thing with Michigan and Georgia. This is much more realistic. I don't see how Democrats have a pathway to the Senate majority, let alone 50-50. I don't. Because they have to flip 3 seats, and they have to win North Carolina, a state that Trump won in 2024 by a decent margin, and Michigan, another state Trump won. Going against Mike Rogers, who is running a good campaign, has the party behind him, and Democrats right now have a civil war there. It's unbelievable that the same people that have been saying this crap for years are back to their same crap, and they're now, and people are listening to them. People are now listening to the same people. Oh, the Larry Sabato said this. Who cares? His organization is crystal ball crap. Sucks. They have no clue what they're doing. They say this every year. Remember 2024? Oh, Trump is not ahead. Actually, Harris has been leading the entire time. And we saw what happened. Again, I'm not denying the idea that Brown could win Ohio. Fine. But to say it's a credible pathway to getting 50-50, let alone 51 in the Senate? You're delusional. You're crazy. More than likely, Republicans have 52 in the Senate right now, right? We gotta see what happens in North Carolina, see what happens in Maine, fine. But more than likely, it starts at 52. Does that look like a 30% chance of getting the Senate? Getting to 51, not just 50-50, because that is a tiebreaker for Vance. No, they're saying 51. They think they have a 30% chance of taking the Senate. Is it possible? Maybe. Right now, I don't see it anywhere, and it's delusional to say otherwise. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.